Smart bulbs are one of the first things that a lot of people buy when they're setting up their smart home, and for obvious reasons. Now we have Hue, LIFX and an A19 Z-Wave bulb in our house. Today we're going to be talking about the LIFX bulb. So if we're completely honest, we're not really sure whether this is a LIFX bulb or a LIFX bulb, but for the sakes of living on this side of the tracks, tomato tomato, we're going to call it a LIFX bulb. Now this is a Wi-Fi bulb, which is not usually the kind of device we go for. As the owner of 3 Z-Wave setups in our house, we normally go for Z-Wave devices because they can operate locally. The reason that we went for this is because the colors of it are just really nice compared to the Philips that we've tried and other Z-Wave bulbs. We just find that the colors are just, there's something more vibrant about them. They're less muted and they're very, very crisp, which we really like. The app underwent an overhaul quite recently from LIFX, and it is a huge improvement on what they had before. So starting with a few of the technical details about this LIFX bulb, this particular model is the A60 or the B22, and it is also compatible with HomeKit, Alexa and Google. It comes with an energy rating of A+. And it's 1100 lumens, which is about the equivalent of a 75 watt normal bulb as opposed to an LED bulb. They say that if you ran it for 3 hours a day, you would get about 22.8 years use out of this, and you can have up to 16 million colors from it. So I'll take it out and hold it up so you can see it a little bit closer. Just to say, this A60 B22 unit from LIFX has a Kelvin range from 2500 to 9000. 2500 obviously is that nice sweet warm spot of daylight. And the build is really quite fantastic. It's a great solid unit. I've dropped this one at least twice in the past. It's got quite a unique design with the flat top there and obviously the screw base. There's a good weight to it. But it looks quite attractive. I find it more attractive than the old round style bulbs that you can buy. Obviously you can control brightness, you can also control color just through your smart speaker. Alexa, set the studio light to blue. And there we go. It's a little bit bluer in real life than what you're seeing here. Alexa, set the studio light to 50%. Okay, I'm not sure if you saw that very well, but the dimmer did change. So that's really the basics of it, connecting it through into the network. It's very easy to connect up with the app. I won't give you a full demo because it really is quite straightforward. There's a lot of things you can do in the LIFX app in terms of controlling rooms and also controlling devices as groups, and then also the way that you can control this. So we will have a quick look at that now, just so you can see what you're up for if you do go for a LIFX model. Obviously I will link to this one below and any other products that I mention. And don't forget to subscribe because it makes me feel loved. Not really, I've got Alexa for that. Now we'll just dive into the app and we'll have a look at a few of the cooler features that we think make this a really great app and bulb combo. As you can see at the moment, I've got 2 rooms set up. I have a living room and a studio. Now, obviously if I had more bulbs, each of these could contain more. If I had a LIFX LED strip or more LIFX bulbs, maybe I had multiple in the room, and then I can either control them as a room on the large right switch, or I can control them individually on the left with the little switch next to each name. Or at the top left there, in this particular home, I could turn the button to turn everything on or everything off as a whole. Quite standard, and obviously all of these are made available if you would like to power them or operate them through Amazon, Alexa, etc. And that is really the home page of the app. On the right, if we swipe to the left, is that good or bad? Swipe left, swipe right, swipe right. We have the calendar. And the calendar has schedules that you would like to set. So at the top there, if I click on that, this is disabled at the moment, but this is a wake up schedule. So it says at 7 a.m. set what I've called my wake up light. So these are really great to use as a wake up light because they have beautiful soft colors around the 2700 Kelvin. And you can have them fade up. So what this does is it says at 7 a.m. fade in over 15 minutes and repeat only on weekdays, so that light slowly comes on in the room and slowly wakes you up, which I'm told is meant to be good for your mental health. I'm not sure if that works for me because it's usually already daylight at 7 a.m. where I live. Maybe I should set it earlier. So that's the wake up schedule example, and then also you can see the one that's active again. At 10:30 p.m. I have a lounge fading light. So this is really meant to tell me when the room starts getting darker, it's probably time to retire for the evening. I usually end up telling my smart speaker to turn it back up, but it is quite funny how long it takes before I realize that the room is getting dark. So what this one does is at 10:30 slowly fade to darkness down to about 20% over 30 minutes. Now you can run any schedules you like. You could say at 5 a.m. just turn this light off. At 7 p.m. turn this light on, turn it off again at 9. Any kind of like away schedules that you want to run, there's plenty of options there with that. Now if we swipe twice to the left, we kind of get to the party part of the app, which is the options that you have to do some cool things with the bulb. So for example, if we select animate, and then we can check the settings on that, you can see run animate on the studio lamp. Use a theme, so there's many themes that you can choose from, or you can choose a fixed color. So let's say we're going to choose proud, save that, and then you can adjust the speed and transition of each of these. So if you're looking at the bulb in front of me, it's probably a little hard to see the lights moving, but you can notice that they're changing. So we could say change slowly over a few seconds or change very quickly. Save that, and then you can have fast transitions, which means the transition between the colors is accelerated. So that's one of the effects that you can use. Color cycles, you can also choose to flicker like a candle where it pulses on and off, and you also have a lot of controls over that. How fast do you want it to flicker? How much do you want it to flicker? At the moment I've got it set at 77%. And do you want to flicker with a white color? Because you can also choose another color. That's the flicker setting. And now I'm just going to jump down to the visualizer. The rest you can play with if you have one of these or if you're going to get one of these. Now the visualizer for me is kind of definitely the party light of the party lights. This is where the party gets started. So if we hit that, it will ask you permission the first time you do it to use your phone microphone. And then what it does is it reacts to noise in the room. The idea being if you had a bunch of LIFX bulbs in your house and you're having a party and the stereo is cranking, then you should get an effect that kind of works with audio. So if I was a beatbox, let's say I'm going to be very quiet so that we can settle a light down to show you. Okay, that's enough of that. Clearly I'm not a beatboxer, but I hope that I have illustrated that that's how that works, which is quite fun. So now I will move this little disco out of my face and I'll show you just a couple of very quick settings, which are the default settings for the light. So if we go back to the first screen and I click on the studio lamp, here you can see that you can now start setting a set color. So if I just grab the color, I can scroll it left and right, and then the bulb will change accordingly to whichever of the 16 million colors I think I have the precision to choose. In the middle, if you go up and down, you can see that the brightness of the bulb is affected right up to 100%, and then obviously there's a power button for on and off. If I swipe left, then I get the white colors, and again the brightness controls and the warm 2500 there, right through to some very stark whites, which is blue ice, which is 9000 Kelvin. Personally quite like 2500, makes me happy on a winter's day. Let's turn that down a little bit. Then we have the themes that I've already mentioned as well, which give you some prefixed ideas. And then we have basically a palette that you can just go straight to a color. In a nutshell, hopefully that gives you an idea of what the LIFX bulbs are like. As a Wi-Fi controlled device, they're very reliable. The build quality is excellent. The features of the bulb itself are great, and the app that it comes with is really quite brilliant. Its interoperability with all of the other platforms makes it incredibly flexible. And so while it's a little bit more expensive than some of the cheaper models that you can buy obviously online, this has been reliable for us for quite some time now, probably going over a year for the first bulb that we bought, and we're hoping that we get 21.8 years of goodness out of them still to come. Any questions, ask in the comments below. Do like and subscribe, and I'll include links for anything that you might be interested in. That's all for now. Have a great day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world, and we'll talk again real soon. Bye for now.